Good morning, family and friends. Here, Edward here at my little homestead out in the jungle. It looks kind of like a nice resort, but this is our home. I built this place after I retired in 2019, just before COVID hit. And it's a beautiful, beautiful day again today, and it's been like that for probably 2, 3 weeks now. Absolutely gorgeous. Northwestern Mindanao is where I live here, and we have a homestead. And I built this place up after I retired, and after my second wife passed from cancer, and I came here and married a Filipina, and we have one child together. And I also brought my autistic son. He's an adult now, and he lives with us too. So I don't know how people can do it these days. As far as that's something we should talk about a little bit here. How can people survive in some of these Western countries, especially the U.S.? Because I see videos all the time out, and people are struggling so hard right now. I mean, all these tourist destinations are empty or very low because people just don't have the money, and they're just trying to survive. And that's kind of when God told me about 10 years ago, after my second wife passed, and then the United States dating scene is just unhinged. It's so crazy with the divorce laws and all the terrible wokeness and all that stuff that's going on in the U.S. I'm happy to be here now in the Philippines, and yes, I go back to the U.S. Once. I'm going to start going there once every year for 3 to 6 months, depending on what's going on, what the weather is. If I need extra money, maybe I'll get a job there or something. But my Social Security is going to start here in a couple months, and I mean, I absolutely don't have to work, but it's the rainy season here is really tough to deal with. We had 7 straight months from first week in December this last year, 2024, all the way up through the beginning of June, really. And it was raining almost every single day. We got a little bit of sun here and there, but hardly anything at all. And then now we've had 3 or 4 straight weeks of just total sun. It's been really nice. Ever since that typhoon went through over 2 weeks ago, we had maybe 2 days of just a little bit of bad weather, rain and cloudiness and a little bit of wind. But because we're way down in the south in Mindanao, and this time of year, and usually it's from the end of March or April all the way through to the end of the year, like October, November, the weather usually starts getting bad for the next rainy season. But this is the place to be during those months because the weather is really nice. But usually, and it's the opposite in Luzon. Luzon usually is good starting November through March and into April. That's their dry season usually, but this year Luzon's been getting hammered. They have more rain this year than I've ever seen ever, and they always get the typhoons too, right? That's why I would never go Luzon. They get the typhoons hitting the shores, and then they get the heavy rains in the mountains, and that's in the north, right? That's where Manila, the island of Manila is, Luzon. And it's me being way down here in Mindanao, we don't get any typhoons. It's very, very rare. And we have a great season in the dry season, and then it's just bad in the wet season because it's always overcast and rain. But that's the best time then to go back to where you came from, or go to a different place that has better weather during that time of year. So anyways, everything's going pretty good around here. My son, my youngest boy, had just an update for you guys. My youngest boy had double pneumonia here, what was it, week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago. And it was weird because right when the good season and the hot weather started hitting, that's when he got pneumonia. Now, I don't know if he got it from kids at school or what. I have no idea. But we had to bring him to the hospital, get x-rays, and there's a clinic at the hospital, so it's a clinic/hospital. So we saw the pediatrician there, and then we took x-rays. Sure enough, he had pneumonia in both lungs. So we got a nebulizer for him and the antibiotics, and he's been taking, he just got done with all that stuff. It was about 7 days of antibiotics and nebulizer. And now he's doing pretty darn good. I mean, a little bit of a cough here and there, but he'll probably have a cough for another week or two. But the pneumonia's gone and he's out of danger, so that's what I love. And he's only had, 3 immunizations since he's been born. And the first 2 was not even from our knowledge in the delivery room. And we were pretty darn adamant that we told them we don't want no injections for our child. And because of my autistic son, he has autism because of them. I seen it with my own eyes. I got all the proof, everything. And so we know what those injections do, especially when it's so many of them. We agree somewhat on some immunizations, but majority of them, no. Like flu and respiratory and, like your common stuff like mumps and chicken pox, and there's no way I would ever give an injection for any of that stuff. It's normal childhood diseases that 99.9% of the time they get through them just fine, and it's just part of nature's way, right? And your body has all the God-given immunity to fight all this stuff, unless you're super weak at birth for some other reason, and then that's the natural way that you pass away. And it's sad to say that, but that's just the reality of the truth of life and death in this earth, is that if you're super weak because of some reason when you're born, eventually you're going to pass because from getting some kind of disease that's normal for majority of the people. And then the strong ones, they survive and go on. And that's part of natural selection. And Leo, he was 4 weeks premature besides, so, especially his lungs weren't totally and completely matured when he was born. The doctor said that they were, but I have my doubts about that. So, but as he gets older, he gets better and stronger, right? The more you go through and you live through it, the stronger you become. And that's just the way it is. So I'm really happy about how strong he is. My gosh, even the worst part of his pneumonia, he was out here wanting to swim in the pool and running around outside, which is great to get a little bit of sun in the early morning, but yeah, I'm amazed at his resilience and strength. So other than that, yesterday or day before, I noticed my one cow, I'm trying to build a herd, she went into heat. So I put a rope around her neck, which she always has one around her neck anyway here because there's no fencing. And so every day I feed her some grain and move her to a different tree or a different anchor point where she can graze, right, with a rope. And that's the way they do it in the Philippines. Until someday I get my property all fenced off, then I can let them roam free and I don't have to do that. But so I'm put a rope around her neck. I'm bringing her home. It's about almost a 2-mile trek one way from her pasture lands to the house. I'm trying to get her to go over some logs in the trail, and I backed up on a stump and fell over and hit my head on another stump when I fell to the ground. And it's just like slow motion, going back, falling down. And I look beside me, and here's a pointed stick sticking out of the ground like that, like, 1 foot or 6 inches high coming out of the ground. And if a person fall into something like that, it'll go right through you just like a knife. And that's the dangerous part about goat getting out in the woods. I mean, freak stuff like that can happen to you. Or a coconut can fall on your head. There's several, people die every year here, coconuts falling on their head, or a coconut tree falling down because they got a shallow root system. All that stuff is possible, but that's why you pray, right? You put in your prayers constantly, thanking the Lord for the beautiful day and thanking Him for the protection He's giving you in every way, right? The neighbor had his cute little young girl, same age as my son, goes to the same school. She got food poisoning, and I've had food poisoning here a couple times too, but it's just so terrible to go through a food poisoning, vomiting and stuff, and it's like dry heaves, and it's really hard. And as a parent, like, when Leah was going through this pneumonia, just listen to him cough so much, and he's just like a constant cough. You're just waiting for blood to come up because the cough is so constant. And I've had pneumonia once in my life too, and I actually coughed up blood, and that's how hurtful it is. And as a parent, you're just in so much anguish because you can't do anything other than keep doing the best you can for giving them fluids and their medication and their breath nebulizer, whatever they need. So you just got to power through it. But it's way better from my children I had when I was young to now, because I can spend so much more time with my children in my retirement, right? Way more time. You can bring them out. I've brought Leo out several times with me, the cows and pasturing. And the older he gets, the more he'll be with me on doing that kind of stuff. And I was never able to do that kind of stuff with my older children. I mean, I worked in the North Slope of Alaska in the oil field, and so I worked for 2 weeks, and then I had 2 weeks off. And those 2 weeks off, we were able to go Disneyland, Disney World, Busch Gardens in Florida, travel around the United States. We did all that kind of stuff on my time off, but I was gone, a little more than half the time. It's about 55% of the time I'm gone. So in retirement, having children is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I mean, you get to wake up, you get to see them grow up, everything, every single day. I mean, it's absolutely been wonderful, and as you know from my previous videos, I was on an overstay ever since, for 4.5 years, ever since COVID. And because of COVID, everything shut down, and then that's when my son was born in September of 2020. And so I was here every single day with my wife and child for 5 years, and it was wonderful, now that I'm back in my legal status as a foreigner here, and all the stuff on reconciliation to get immigration to, give me a legal status again. I had to just pay. You can look at my other videos. I had to pay them money, and go through all the procedure and everything for them to evaluate, and then they send me a letter, you know, and my new passport with the stamp on it saying, okay, you're good to go until a certain date, which is August 30th, and I've already set up my flight to go back to the U.S. in the middle of August, and tomorrow's my birthday, so I'll get to spend some time with my family here for another week or so, and then take off back to the U.S. But you know, some people are really scared they're going to get blacklisted, and you will, if immigration, or if you get in trouble, or if immigration, they want to bring the hammer down on you for whatever reason, they can nail you on an overstay, and you can get blacklisted out of the country. So that's why, and you know, and it's something that I never obviously planned, and I think most people don't, but you got to be working the best you can, finding a way to get the money and go through all the procedure to try to get it resolved, you know, as soon as you can, because, you know, if something happens, you know, you could get blacklisted. And me, with having family here and everything, that would be a really terrible situation. So yeah, I totally recommend that you try not to ever go into an overstay, but you know, that happens, life happens, you know, with COVID and everything, with lockdown, and right when my son was born is when my Philippine visa ran out, and it's just the way it worked out. I just thank God that, you know, everything, I never have to go to detention, and eventually all worked out. So, you know, and a lot of things matter too. If you're out carousing and doing things wrong, and the Philippines don't go for that stuff. If you're being disrespectful in any way, or just dating and using women, but you know, a lot of foreigners come here, they want to settle down, they want to marry, and they want to have children, you know, and there's a huge respect by all Filipinos for that kind of stuff, guys. If you're just coming here just to get easy women or whatever, I mean, you're going to get yourself in trouble eventually. You're going to piss somebody off. And then maybe that somebody going to put you in detention or prison. And that stuff can happen. It all depends on what kind of a person you are, because that really matters in the Philippines. If you're a piece of crap doing bad things and people see it, and the rumors spread fast in the Philippines, right? Because poor people, they don't have money to do anything except for rumors, right? Murmuring, backbiting, all that stuff, right? So you better, you know, be an upstanding person and get along with your neighbors, get along with the people, you know, that are around you in the Philippines, because if you don't, you can get bad reputation, and bad stuff can happen to you real quick. So I would be advised of you to that, to be on your best behavior, or whatever it is. Be totally respectful. So just a heads up. That's about it for today, guys. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I'm just running the pool pumps here, and putting a little extra water in the pool, and ever since I remodeled it here in May, this pool's been just absolutely beautiful. So I'm really happy with it. But one thing I'm doing, I'm keeping one pump on low speed, always 24 hours a day, and it's totally perfect. I've never had any problems whatsoever with it. But before, when I was trying to manage it by shutting it off 2 or 3 days, trying to save electricity, because I was running out of money, but the pool becomes green then, and you really can't let it go very long, and it'll start getting green. So that's about it, guys, for this update. I love you very much. Take care, and it's my birthday tomorrow, so you'll probably see some more videos of that. So, you know, I'll be 62, and that's why I'm going back to the U.S. to start my Social Security. I got pretty much all of it done. I just have to get my Social Security number for my son, Leo. And I already did the application online. I just have to go in to the Social Security office in the U.S. and show them all my documentation for him to get a Social Security number. And then that boosts my Social Security benefits up big time, right, guys? I mean, it's like $2,700 a month for both my wife and my son, plus my $2,300 a month. It ends up being the family maximum, which is over $6,000 per month, guys. That's what the law says. So I'm just going by the law. I mean, that's another huge advantage for having minor children in your retirement, guys. Huge advantage. It's massive. It's very massive. So we'll see if it all pans out, right? That's what everyone says. That's what the law says. And that's how I've applied it when I put in my application for my retirement benefits for Social Security, and we're going to see what happens. And I'll keep you guys up to date on that. So please put in your comments if you have any comments about anything. And I would be happy to answer any of your questions. I've boots on the ground here in northern Mindanao now for over 10 years, so I can tell you guys a lot of my experience and what I did and what I've done with owning land jointly with my Filipino wife and all that stuff. There's so many myths and rumors and misinformation out there. It's very because people don't do their due diligence and read the Philippines Constitution, look at the written law and all these other things. So I can give you some advice, but I always suggest you read the written law on everything. Don't take the advice wholeheartedly 100% from anybody. So anyway, that's it for now. Love you guys. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.